Hey Bible lovers, I'm Tim Nichols and I'm here to bring you your Nichols Worth, and today we're going to compare the two NASB 2020 giant prints. Newly released from Holman, we have a giant print, and of course we have one from the Lockman Foundation. So let's take a look at what they have in common and a few differences. One thing they have in common is they are essentially the same size. So you got it's about 9 inches tall and about 6 inches wide. This is pretty much a standard size Bible, and they have about the same thickness as well. Now, some things they have differently is the leathers. Now this leather is more stiff, this leather is more of a matte finish, and this leather has more lines in the grain. I'm pretty sure this is a stamped grain leather. And this one is more pebbly. So you see, and it's also more shiny. It's a little bit more soft, a little bit more pliable. So both leathers are outstanding. This one's a little thicker, this one's a little thinner. Also, the Holman has perimeter stitching, and the Lockman does not have perimeter stitching. So that's something else you may want to consider. They both have gold gilding, and the gold gilding is equally comparable in both of them. Look essentially identical. The Lockman has two 3/8 inch ribbons, flat cut. The Holman has one not quite 3/8 inch. I don't think that's quite 1/8 inch either. It's somewhere in between, and it has an angle cut, and they did a pretty poor job singeing that edge. But the way you fix that, just take some scissors and snip, and then you just singe it. Don't let the flame touch it. Just kind of go right up to it, and then that will kind of sear that in. So now let's compare the liners. Okay, the liners, this one is a vinyl, but it's more of a flat, where this one's more shiny. But they're both quality liners. Both of them have reinforcement tape. The Lockman seems to have it a little more pronounced right here, to where the Holman, it's just a little bitty bit all the way across. But I'd say you're not going to have any issues of either of these falling apart. Corners both look good. I think I prefer the Holman leather. I definitely prefer the perimeter stitching. I prefer the Lockman ribbons. Gilding is the same. I actually like the Holman spine a little bit better. Although it still has the same information, I like the way they handle their like kind of hubs. They're not really hubs, they're more tool work over just stamping it in there. So now let's look at the block and see who has the better text block. First of all, let's compare font size. This is considered a 13. This is considered a 13.5. And as you can see, the Lockman is much, much larger. I don't know how different publishers measure their fonts, but this is clearly more than a half a point larger. I'm going to give the edge on the paper to the Lockman. I know people don't like the blue tint, but this paper seems a little thin to me. It seems a little ghosty to me. I don't know the GSM of this paper. I don't know the GSM of either one. Lockman tends to be between 30 and 33, and I would say it's probably going to be the case with the Holman as well. Holman here, Lockman here. One thing I like about the Lockman is I like the bold headings at the top, and they keep them super large. Also, another advantage with the Lockman is, although they don't have any references, the notes that they have, check it out. Their notes are also giant print and readable. When you go to the Holman notes, they're very small. So if you struggle to see a smaller print, you're going to struggle with this. Both of them both have really good layouts, but I'm going to give the edge in the layout to the Holman, and here's why. The Holman justifies their text. And what happens when you justify and line match your text is you don't see near as much ghosting. Check it out here. See, that's not justified. You can see ghosting all up and down. But let's go to a full page. See, check that out. That just looks like a more solid layout to me. But both of these have tremendous advantages. Both of these are excellent. If you want a larger font, Lockman is definitely going to meet that need for you. If you want your references, then the Holman is going to meet that need. But keep in mind, they're in the corner. They are small. The notes in the bottom are small. This has the giant print. Another comparison that I want to make is I want to compare the red letter. Now, the red letter with the Lockman is nice and dark. I love it. It's really sharp. Just really good, dark, bold, red, consistent print. When you move over into the Holman, actually, it's very similar. Very dark, very bold, very nice. But when you pull them together, there's really not a whole lot of difference, but I'm going to say the Lockman is just a little bit darker, so I'm going to give them the edge on the red letters. Then once you get to the back, the Holman is going to have the same thing in the back with your topical index, but they are not going to have your book introductions like the Lockman does. So if you like your book introductions kind of in the back. Another thing I'm going to give a little edge on the Lockman is the maps. Here's why. I don't like shiny maps as much as I like flat cardstock maps. So these are both loaded. These both give you plenty of options. They're both really outstanding additions. I highly recommend either one, but it just depends on your preferences as to which one is for you. So there you have it. Keep calm. Jesus on this, your Nicholsworth.